Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. This is the latest episode of the Coach's Corner. A little bit different this week. There's no Dan. He's currently having a wonderful time over in Hong Kong. And for those who are watching, you'll notice we're not in the studio, me and Matty here today. We're doing this virtually for a number of different reasons, but we wanted to get you guys a show because there's plenty to talk about. Matty, we're going to be speaking in a moment about players when they ask to leave football clubs and how that situation all unfolds. But yet today we were hit with the news that Alexander Isak wants to leave Newcastle. There's been talk Luis Diaz wants to leave Liverpool as well. Just dead quick, mate, I'd love to know your thoughts as a supporter before we even get into it. When you first saw that Isak stuff, what was your immediate reaction?
Surprised, but then when you actually look at like the little things that probably added up over the last few weeks, when he said he's had a minor thigh injury, he's not travelled, and then was it Celtic they played and he weren't even taken. So sort of when you look back at what's happened, you can see it's not really out of the blue, but it's a big statement from himself in it to come out and actually say I want to leave.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about that then, because I want to speak about it. I mentioned there the reporting goes now Alexander Isak is still Newcastle. He wants to get a transfer, but Newcastle are keen to keep him. Very similar to Luis Diaz, really, who manly made it known he wants to leave. I mean, interest from Bayern Munich, maybe different reasons for both of them. I think maybe Diaz is more contractually, maybe Isak's more in terms of he's at that age where he wants to go on, to the, with all due respect, to the elite level and try and win trophies, which maybe Newcastle is still a little bit away from. I know you can sit from a unique situation of being both a player and then in a coaching. So from a player's point of view first, have you ever had a situation where someone on one of your teams just doesn't want to be there anymore? And is it as awkward as we make it out? Because we all just think the second a player goes, I want to leave, everyone's like, sound, get rid of him, down tools and all that kind of stuff. Is that kind of how it is, or is it a little bit different in real life?
I know a few lads, obviously, who've played, who have had it. Off the top of my head, can't really think of any. Maybe when I was very young, can't even think if I have, but if I have it, there might have been one situation, but it depends how they act, really, because I think some lads say like there's obviously reasons why I want. Obviously, you'll have a little cliff within the group where they're probably like, I understand where you're coming from. There might just be a disagreement. I think there's different like variations of I want to leave. I think you can spit your dummy out and you can start becoming a bit of a nightmare. In which case, I think especially like the senior lads and stuff might just be like, this can't go on type of thing. I think there's scenarios maybe a little bit more with the Diaz. Obviously, don't really know the Isak. It's quite fresh, but Diaz is sort of I want to go like contractually. I think you can see both sides to the Diaz one. He's going, I'm 28. I want to try and get that last big move. Liverpool are going, we've got you for 2 more years. So, but I don't think it's getting too nasty at the minute. I think you never know, could turn, but I think it all depends on how the player goes about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like I say, the Diaz is on the tour, for example, and Alexander Isak very much didn't go on Newcastle's pre-season tour. But I'm from a coach's perspective, then if we move towards that one, I'm just trying to think when you are actively doing your pre-season or you're doing your planning and a player doesn't want to be there. Let's start with Luis Diaz first, because he is in attendance. You like you say, maybe he's gone about it in a slightly different way, but if you're on a slot and you're trying to get your messages across in pre-season or you're self-coaching to people, you really want that buy-in of like, we're all together, we all want to be in this together, we're doing this, doing this. Is it slightly strange then to be saying that to a guy who's looking directly back at you, knowing he doesn't want to be there?
Yeah, I think that as a coach, you want the player to be fully bought into what you're doing, because there might even be that little element when he's getting told something, he's going, don't even know if I want to be here, so I'm not too fussed type of thing. There's nothing to suggest it, but as a coach, you want whoever's in and around the team to be 100% there, because obviously the amount of games you play and how important every game is, you need players to buy into everything you're saying. So even if just that little few percent drop off mentally and physically and what you're delivering, you could probably have to tell them, you need them to buy in it and do whatever's being asked of them, really. Whereas if they're elsewhere, again, you could have like a situation where they're going like in one ear out the other. They're not taking it on board. They're not applying themselves. So I think as a manager, you do want that 100% buy-in, because then whatever you're saying is going to be taken on.
It'd be interesting, like say, put yourself around a slot shoes. Maybe one day you might be a Liverpool manager as your coaching journey continues. But like for him to to be there and be like, I know for a fact this guy isn't really, he wants to leave. It's a contractual issue, I get it kind of thing. I'm just wondering how you treat him, like, as well, because it's easy to go, you treat everyone the same, and we get on with the job and it's all in, but like, deep down inside, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and I wonder if there is just a little feeling of like, F him kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, if there's a practice to be had, well, let's use Cody Gakpo instead, because we know he wants to be here. We can give Cody Gakpo that training session. He can be involved. I wonder how Arne Slot's dealing with the situation right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's entirely on how the player sort of conducts himself. If it's so obvious that he's going, I'm not here mentally, I don't want to be here, obviously, then there will be, I think it'll be sort of how Diaz's act, how Slot's act sort of going to be reciprocated both ways. So I think it's, if he's starting to get a bit funny about it, I think it might be the case where you go, yeah, well, Gakpo, you can have that extra whatever. Whereas I think if he's obviously gone about it in the right way, I think it'll be, we'll still use him, but I think there might be that little element of, we'll just put Gakpo in there to have a little, give him, there was just little extra bits here and there that might add up. So obviously you're thinking, might not even be here, so down the line, I'd rather put a bit more effort into Cody Gakpo than I would Diaz. Again, though, I think Liverpool's stance is we're very happy to keep him unless that bid that we want is met. And I think it just depends on how Diaz wants to take it. So from obviously not being within the camp and stuff, but like from the outside, it doesn't look like it's getting too like hostile at the minute. But again, you never know, do you? But from the outside, it doesn't look like it's that way.
I know lower down the leagues, mate, you've probably heard the stories of lads booting balls off the training pitch and kicking the cones away and all that. I don't get the sense Luis Diaz is quite in Hong Kong, just wellying balls into the river or anything.
No, I can't imagine doing that. I have heard a few stories like that. I think I heard a story a while ago where someone wanted to leave and he went singing a song going, please release me, let me go. So I've heard there's something else where like lads just walk off, booting balls, and just go. There might have been one with David Bentley, I think, at one point. I think Peter Crouch touched on it once he having a laugh on whatever his podcast, I think it was. And obviously you get dragged in sometimes for a session on the Sunday, don't you? I think he's like just wellying balls about, because obviously it's like a bomb squad sometimes, and he's just went, get yourself in. And before he's even said it, I think Bentley was walking in going, see you in the afternoon, with his hand off. Like that. So I think it can get a little bit like that, and it can become hard, to be fair. It can become like quite a difficult situation.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Luis Diaz is doing that. And let's move to Alex Isak then, because it is different. The Newcastle tried to downplay his injury, the Celtic thing, and then of course didn't go on the tour. It's since emerged earlier that the reports have come out that actually he wants to move, and it's kind of related to that is why he hasn't gone on tour. Let's flip now, mate, and let's put yourself in Eddie Howe's shoes a little bit. You're a new manager. You're coming off you've won a trophy, you've qualified for the Champions League. The garden is rosy. You struggle to get your transfer targets in. They've had a bit of a tough time. One of their targets has just signed for Liverpool, for example. And then your star man, by all accounts, wants to leave and isn't on your pre-season tour. I mean, you've got the job here of trying to focus on getting there's 20 odd other lads there who need your attention, need your pre-season, but actually your main man who you're desperate to keep also isn't that there now. He's almost been split in two. I'm guessing, again, going back to the coaching side that you do, trying to put on a session, trying to put on a plan of a pre-season whilst all this is going on in the background, I'm guessing, again, wouldn't be the easiest there for Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I think from the outside, this one looks a little bit different to the Diaz. He's actually come out, and when you're saying his head's not in the right place, so he's not even got anything to do with that game, and now he's got a slight injury, and now it's come out, he's now said, I want to leave. It looks like they tried to keep it under wraps and try and deal with it before it sort of comes out, but obviously it's sort of escalated. I mean, it's a bit of a nightmare, obviously, for them, because Ekatike's now joined us, obviously an option for them. Isak now wants to go, which is obviously, they were thinking, well, if we don't get Ekatike, we'll probably keep Isak. And now he's going like, that would be a bit of a nightmare, because obviously he's now going out his way to say, like, I don't want to be here. So putting on sessions from the outside, again, it's probably, you are looking, and he could just be completely disengaged in your session. You can tell he's not really there. Again, might be wrong, but just from the outside, what it looks like it could become a bit of like a difficult situation. Obviously, that's potentially why they've left him out the tour. I mean, it could be the club saying, it could be Isak saying, I'm not going, but he's probably thinking, I've got 20 players here, but in terms of squad planning for the season, that is, they've got another backup alternative now to Ekatike, because that is a nightmare, because he is he's their main man, isn't he? So
Absolutely. And then switching from your coaching head to your playing head, Matt, like, again, think about it. You and the guys pre-season, and then one of the lads decides he just isn't turning up. He's not having it. And then, because Newcastle stands, by the way, he's not for sale. The quote in the Telegraph was like, they're going to plan to ride this out, was kind of what it said. If he comes back to the group, having not gone on pre-season, having a bit of, by all accounts, it looks like maybe a little strop or whatever we want to call this. I'm trying to think about integrating that back in. Liverpool did this in the past with Phil Coutinho to an extent, and it kind of worked for a bit, but then he still left. I'm just thinking, if one of your teammates now walked in, hadn't trained all summer because he was trying to get a move down the road, and then you've got to bring him back into the fold, and by all accounts, he's your best player, and he's going to go back into the team. I can only imagine that there's going to be some side eyes and a little bit of like, get on this fella kind of thing. Is that fair to say?
yeah, I think it depends. Obviously, if he doesn't get the move and he does come back in, I think a lot of lads will know he is their main player. So it's like, if he can deliver on the pitch, maybe we can sort of forgive him, type of thing. I think obviously within the team he'll have lads he's obviously close with and stuff, so they'll probably like know what's going on anyway, even if he's not around the team. But I think moving forward it'll be a case of, let's see how he applies himself once he's back in the fold, and then if he's delivering on the pitch, I think it's a case of like, he's doing it on the pitch now. So especially with Isak as well, the quality he's got. So I think that's obviously like a massive part of it.
Suppose it's easy to forgive when there's 3 points on the line and your best player, you want him on the pitch. You can kind of get, not everyone has to be mates, I suppose.
Yeah, I think, probably perfectly said. If he's scoring like he can, or doing what he can do on the pitch, I think it is a case of just going, all right, if you continue like this, obviously there might be a little bit of a change in between like team dynamics and stuff, but I think if you're putting a shifting on the pitch, and again, you're being a good lad around the training ground again, and it's not sort of continued, I think then it might change. But I think if he's coming in and he's still playing, to be fair, I don't know what Eddie will do in that scenario, because as I say, he's probably their best player, and if he's coming back into the team and it's so obvious he doesn't want to be there, that is a headache then. Whereas if he comes back and goes, right, well, I've not left, but I'll continue playing, I think that's again a different scenario.
That was a clip from the Coach's Corner. To check out the whole show, head to redmenplus.com or click the link in the description.